Hi, I'm Nusaiwa.
Hi, I'm Michael O'Hine, and we'll be the host for today's podcast.
Welcome back. For those who don't know, the Scripps Ranch Professional Career Exploration Club is an organization dedicated to interviewing professionals for many different career paths. We aim to help students find a career that's right for them.
And we have a very special guest today. Give a warm welcome to Minoo Hadidi. Miss Hadidi received her master's in library science from the Islamic Azad University and is a youth service librarian at North Claremont Library. Miss Hadidi, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Happy to be here.
So just to start it off, what got you interested in library science at first?
Okay, so obviously love of reading books, and I don't know, I thought I want to just be either a librarian or a teacher. So another thing about library science is that it was very interesting that you get to learn and study a little bit about everything. I studied, and I had to be a couple of units in psychology, philosophy, world civilization, history, everything. So it just, as I said, it's a little bit of everything. So that was perfect fit for me. I know I didn't want to just be focused on one thing, like engineering, it's just numbers and this and that. So it's like everything, and I love it.
So what does a youth services librarian do on a normal day?
All right, so in general, I'm not talking about now in the COVID time. So obviously in libraries, you have some responsibilities, the opening procedures of a branch of the library, closing, you get to do reader advisory. So as a children's librarian, so mostly for kids, the kid comes to you, hey, this is the last book I read, what do you recommend? Or a mom comes to me, hey, my child doesn't like to read, or this is what she or he likes. So that's another big part, reader advisory. A huge part of our job is programming, and actually that's my favorite part of being a children's librarian. I don't know how much you guys know about public libraries or how often you used to go to libraries, but we offer so many different programs, all free. You get from yoga to meditation to simple story times to art classes, everything all free, all under one roof, and that's a big part of also our responsibility. Another part is volunteers. We manage teen volunteers. Like my own daughter, Mary, was a very active volunteer with the San Diego Public Library System. So obviously before this COVID happens. And that's a very interesting part. I work with so many wonderful, talented teens. It's a win-win situation because we get to use their talent for free. And also they get to, you have to earn some volunteering hours for some of your courses. And also, you get to know your community. It's some of you just after volunteering for a few hours, you figure out, wow, you're such a good leader. So you become a teen council president. It's, again, it's a great opportunity for both of us, for libraries, for teams. And many of these teens now, they are librarians because they started volunteering and said, wow, I really like it, and this is where I want to be, and this is where I want to work. So, and then, all the routine things like when somebody comes to get a library card or answering reference questions, those things also, we know it all. So pretty much for our system, it's the branch manager, and then it's the youth services librarian. So, and the branch manager is not around, so we have to resume the role of the branch manager and pretty much manage the branch. Yeah, that's it.
So when you're looking for, a new volunteer or, a new employee, especially, when you're trying to build up this whole system of a community, as you were saying, what traits do you look for?
Okay, so As far as volunteering, if you go to our website, you see there are different opportunities. Like if you want to be library beautifier, so that's the different things that you do. Or if you want to be involved with children, like you want to be a summer reading ambassador, that's what we call it. So it's different. If you want to work with children, if you want to be a children's librarian like me, so you have to love kids. Because, you know, kids, they do not behave all the time. Even when I do a story time before, when the kids were around, it's not like they all sit quietly and just look at me, read the books. Okay, we're done. No. So you have to love them. And another thing, you have to love libraries. You have to, it takes, and another thing, the important part is that you have to have the love of community. You know, if you are not a people person, then it's not the job for you. Because that's another thing, you're interacting with public from the second that we open to the second that we close. And not everybody is pleasant. And not everybody is nice. So yeah, that I think that's the very important thing that we are looking for. Just have to love to help people. Yeah,
and it's important for a new employee to have like a good fit in the library. But some skills, they have to be developed as a librarian. So what do you think the best traits for a librarian are?
As I said, love of public is something that you're born with. You either love to be around people all the time or you don't. Just be pleasant, you know, be patient with people. Love to, again, love your people. That I think I keep saying it because it's very, very important. Especially now, you know, even worse than before. We see people, they're done. They're tired of the lockdown, and they just want everything open up, which obviously we cannot. So that's very important for children's librarian. You have to love kids. You have to be patient with them. For adults, so even with teens, you know, I've seen children's librarians that do not like kids, but they're very good with teens. So that's very important, because teenagers also are very difficult when you want to attract them to the library, when you want to promote reading, when you want to promote your programs. That's a challenging age for us. So again, just be helpful, just be pleasant, be patient, and want to help your community, your people.
And you know, you've brought it up a few times, but how have you noticed how COVID has changed the library experience, as they say?
Oh my goodness. It turned our lives upside down. So we went from a day, I remember the last day that I worked, actually I was in charge, so busy to the next day that boom, closed. First it was 2 weeks, and the 2 weeks became 4, and the 4, 6, and then here we go. Although, you know, we opened up partially, not all branches, because it's depends on how big your branch is. So some big libraries like Rancho Bernardo, now they are open, meaning that they let people inside, but again for limited access. It's not like before, you can't just go sit there and read a book, no. But the small branch that I'm working right now, North Claremont, we're still closed, meaning that the building is closed to the public. They cannot come in. We offer pickup services. So again, my favorite part of my job was always programming. So you go from hosting celebrations, like Dr. Seuss celebration, Halloween, New Year, this and that, to zero, and then the story time. And the first thing that came to our mind in last March, I just reached out to my boss and said, hey, you know what? I cannot just abandon my children say, oh yeah, it's COVID, we're closed, done. No. So what we did, like everybody else, we turned into virtual programs, which was not easy, still is not easy. I'm not an actress, and but you have to do what you have to do. So that was the biggest challenge for me, and I'm sure for many other children's librarians. And still, some of them, they don't do it because they can't. Not everybody can sit in front of a phone or an iPad and pretend that the room is full of kids, full of energy, and read a book or sing a song. And sometimes I have to do for a 5-minute story time. It takes at least an hour. So yeah, I have to keep doing it. But you know what? We survived 1 year. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we start opening up, but I know things will be different. We keep hearing it. I might not be able to have my kids for quite some time. We might not be able to, host big programs. That I say the programs. I'm telling you, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah.
So you've done a great job explaining how a librarian has a really holistic experience and takes skills from many different jobs into your like goodie bag of skills. So when you go back to in person, do you think it'll be hard for the transition back from virtual to in person? Like, how do you think libraries will accommodate for that?
I think the most difficult part is that people start trusting that it is safe. I think that's most difficult part. To be honest, I get vaccinated and I'm good to go. Even from the first day, I told my boss, hey, you know what? I can just sit in the parking lot and have the kids come over and do a story time. But being again, we want everybody to be safe, pretty much. That's the last thing that we want, that somebody comes to library and say, hey, maybe I got this because I attended that program. For me, going from virtual to in person, no problem. Because again, I don't know, maybe I'm younger, but there are some, older librarians, maybe they're a bit, or they are more worried because of their health. And again, it's just the trust of the people, the public, that they trust, that we all feel safe in the environment. Because again, when you work with kids, I cannot say, hey, guys, you have to stay 6 feet apart. They don't understand. They can't even keep their mask on, I'm sure, for half an hour period of time. So we all have to keep these things in mind. And that's why it makes us so, wrapped up, and so it feels too much. But the way I'm feeling, the way I see the executive team, and the day they're approaching as far as opening up the branches, they're doing it slowly but surely. And during the past year, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx, but nobody's staff in the whole public library system got affected by this virus. So we are, cleaning everything, we're disinfecting everything 2-3 times a day, washing hands, wearing masks, everything. So we pretty much feel safe. And hopefully the public also feel the same way coming back to the library.
I mean, as if it wasn't difficult enough before to get kids, interested and excited in reading. How do you think kids can get, back into literature and back into education in a way, even, during a time like this?
You know what? As I said, still I get to see my kids. Like yesterday I was at work and I saw 2 of my storytime kids. They were there at the library every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. for the pajama story time. And that was the highlight of my day yesterday. It made me so happy. And although we were closed, but like I remember last year for Dr. Seuss' birthday, we all celebrated in March, right? It's the first week of March. So I had a Dr. Seuss celebration last year. 100 people attended, okay, for this celebration. It was awesome. It was so much fun. This year, I said, hey, you know what? I know like they can't come inside, but I can, do something. We have to do something. I can't just say, hey, you know what, library is closed, we're done. No. So I made goodie bags, treats, all Dr. Seuss themed goodie bags, yes. And some sweets also in it. And I made book bundles, Dr. Seuss book bundles. And I promoted it on Facebook. I put the flyer, and the Claremont City Town Council, they also promoted. So it was a huge hit. So people still coming, they checked out Dr. Seuss's books, they got to see me, and they got the goodie bags. But again, I did the same thing for the Hop into Spring. Again, the same thing with the goodie bag, with the spring, Easter themed books. So, we are doing whatever I can at this point. But the feedback that I'm getting, at least from that little branch and my community over there, it's good. In like 3-4 days, I was out of the bags and the bundles. So you know what? I'm hopeful, Michael. I'm hopeful. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, between the goodie bags and the virtual story times that you do on Facebook, I mean, you're doing a very good job of adapting. I mean, I know it's difficult, but you've done a very great job of it. So we do appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
I think one of the best parts of being a librarian is knowing the impact you put on children and other people in literature and education. And so to wrap it all up, can you give us an elevator pitch on being a librarian?
Again, I said the public, when a child comes to me, she gets the book that she wants, and she looks at it, she's excited. I said, just thank you, Miss Minoo. It just means the world to me. Or when you get a phone call, somebody is looking for some information, like it was tax season, right? And he said, hey, libraries are closed. I don't have anybody to help me with my taxes. What can I do? So I go on the search, then find the AARP, or there was another website that they offer free tax help. So give it that person, and then the person calls me back and thanking me because I saved her life and the taxes and everything. That means a lot. And again, if you're after money, if you want to become rich, this is not the career that you want to pick. But if you love helping people, if you love making a difference in somebody's life, which I know every single of these libraries or librarians, at least in this city, have done it, then this is the career for you. Because don't look at Scripps Ranch or the community that we live in. There are, neighborhoods that kids, they do not have the things that you guys have here. Even some, neighborhoods, what libraries do, they also provide food or snack for kids after school. There's so many things. Even before I joined the City of San Diego Public Libraries, I had no idea that they are doing all these things all for free. This is from food, it's from legal help, it's the simple book and reader advisory and this and that. But it's huge. And I think the most important is that you are making a difference in somebody's life. It's either a senior citizen or it's a little kid. You are.
Well, Ms. Hadidi, that was a very insightful interview. Thank you very much for joining us today. We think everyone learned quite a bit about what it is to be a youth services librarian in this day and age. So thank you very much for joining us. Bye-bye.
You're very welcome, Michael. Thanks for having me.